reporting on the breaking news, and he's on air. He was just on air, may still be, that Dan Bongino has been named Deputy Director of the FBI, obviously known as originally before his role as a broadcaster.
Right.
And we're seeing that come out. People are like, how dare President Trump pick this podcaster to do this? Of course, he spent time in law enforcement, spent time, in a lot of different places, New York Police Department, the NYPD, and a special agent with the United States Secret Service. And of course, later on had his broadcast career, whether that's on radio or that's on Fox News, or then being one of really the biggest names on the Rumble platform. And I think the biggest live streamed show on the internet is the Dan Bongino show. So the fact that he decided to step away from that and move to this role, really stepping up. And he made some great statements, I heard, saying that, if you get called upon in these moments, it's not about money. It's clearly the guy's making a good living being a broadcaster, but it's time to step up into this situation.
When we saw this come across last night, that President Trump and Kash Patel had decided to place Dan Bongino in this deputy director role, it was an exciting time. We know the criticism, and we'll play some of that in the next segment, that Dan Bongino has had about the way law enforcement in this country has operated, especially during the last 4 years, and even during the first Trump administration, as you saw the FBI still trying, in the wake of the Comey scandals, to target the presidency and go after him through the deep state. But another interesting thing that makes me a little bit sad about this is that the deputy director of the FBI doesn't need to be Senate confirmed. The Deputy Secretary of State, other cabinet-level deputies.
Why does that make you sad?
Well, because you know what I would love more than anything in the world? Seeing Adam Schiff having to talk to Dan Bongino during a confirmation hearing.
Obviously, to argue Dan Bongino. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Obviously, I would rather him just be in the position, which he will be, because it's not a Senate-confirmed position. But I am sad that we get to miss out on that great historic moment of Adam Schiff on the Judiciary Committee having to discuss things that maybe he's done with Russiagate in the past as they go through confirmation.
Hey, I was listening to his show before we went on air today, as he made these official announcement, and he talked about that this will probably be starting the wrap-up of his broadcast over the next few days.
I believe he said he's going to have 3 shows left.
So
if you look at that midweek, you're probably done with that portion of his career, at least for now, and then he will be making the jump to the Hoover building at the FBI.
Do we have a clip we could play? This is from, again, minutes ago. Dan Bongino took to Rumble, again, the largest show, and look, I would love to have that claim too. The largest live stream broadcast on the internet is Dan Bongino. So again, he's not taking this lightly, not taking this job lightly. He certainly doesn't need it from a financial standpoint. But let's hear from Dan Bongino from just a few minutes ago.
Vision of President Trump, Attorney General Bondi, and Director Patel. I am going to do my job to implement that vision. And I can tell you right now, we are going to try our best. Every single thing I have in me, every single strand of DNA cell in my body is going to be dedicated towards keeping this homeland safe, no matter what. No matter what. That's my job. We're going to reestablish faith in this institution. The good people there doing their job, hitting the streets, developing sources. We'll have your back. We are going to reestablish faith in this institution. The FBI belongs to the American people. Doesn't belong to me. Doesn't belong to anyone else but the American people. But this is the honor of a lifetime, and it's a serious mission. And I plan on implementing that vision.
Maybe we need to go over a little bit of what that position even holds, because obviously Kash Patel is the head of the FBI. Well, what does this look like for Dan Bongino? It's not a confirmed position, so he doesn't have to go through the rigorous confirmation process. Seems like he will just be able to start work here a bit later this week.
That's right. So officially, the deputy director is appointed by the director of the FBI,
yes.
So Kash Patel. So on paper, even though President Trump announced it and obviously was advising in this as well, that the way that this works is the director of the FBI appoints the deputy director, and it is the second in command. If there is a vacancy, That person becomes acting director, and it's the highest position attainable in the FBI without being appointed directly by the President of the United States. So in theory, Kash Patel could have just done this on his own. Obviously, we know that they are walking in lockstep with the president and very much trying to rebuild the FBI. Dan Bongino on his show even said, we want to rebuild the faith in this institution. And Professor Hutchison, that's one of the concerns that I know everyone listening and watching this broadcast has had and that we share, is that the faith in the FBI was completely shattered over really the last 8 years, really with James Comey and the way he meddled in the 2016 election with his statement about Hillary Clinton, then pulling it back, then reopening it, and then immediately after sending spies into the Trump White House because he could. That was literally the statement he said, sending agents into the White House to try and start to target administration officials. When you look at this and the work that we've done at the ACLJ, we have 6 open cases against the FBI. They are FOIAs that have turned into lawsuits. Going back to the Comey spies, the abuse of FISA in Section 702, the politicization of social media platforms and the censorship there, the anti-Catholic memo that they said it was first just out of Richmond, then we knew it was nationwide, and they wanted it to be a national directive. The selective leaking of whistleblowers. We've also defended and currently are still defending one whistleblower in federal court. The other, we got him restored his security clearance and pay. And then also that thing right there at the end where the FBI at the National Academy unilaterally declared a state of Palestine. And you had Director Wray right there as they welcome someone from the state of Palestine that they had been training at the National Academy. All of these things diminish the trust in the institution. How important is it that we have these people in there to help continue this work that we do at the ACLJ?
Well, it's very, very important. And so I think virtually everyone who's been alive for the last 7 to 8 years, perhaps even 10 years, realizes that the FBI has not operated as an even-handed organization. It has basically put its thumb on the scale with respect to particular targets. Keep in mind that the investigations targeting Donald Trump actually commenced in 2015. We had the operation called Hurricane Crossfire, which was initiated by the FBI. We had Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Andrew McCabe, and other individuals who were involved arguably in a conspiracy to prevent Donald Trump from assuming office in 2016. And it almost worked. So what we have seen over the last couple of days is absolutely fabulous news for the American people who are interested in the rule of law. And so President Trump's announcement that Dan Bongino is the next deputy director of the FBI is triggering seismologists who suggest that this announcement has led to an increase in Google searches among deep state operatives. They're looking for defense attorneys. Trump's appointment may mean that Andrew McCabe, James Comey, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page may already be quaking in their boots unless, of course, the statute of limitations has run out.
Well, what's interesting with this is when you look at what President Trump is doing compared to even the last time. So you look back, you said 2016, we were headed towards that being a decade ago now, 9 years ago, that all of this was happening. Now we are headed towards the 10th year. We're headed towards the second Trump presidency. And somewhat, because of that time, you were able to now see him put in people who, again, are not necessarily establishment, are not necessarily uncontroversial. I mean, I wouldn't put Bongino as one of the more controversial, but he would be purely based on maybe the brand that he has had the last handful of years, whether that, again, was someone who was a Fox News host, was one of the really big personalities on Rumble, our favorite free speech platform, our friends over at Rumble, but again, has a deep background and fully qualified for this. So he's picking people that are going to go in. They can be strong. They're not playing politics, but are at least qualified. And I think that's the weird trajectory people, and really the weird point of view that people keep saying is that Trump keeps picking people that are unqualified. Show me one of these people that aren't qualified. I had a conversation with a family member recently, and they were like, "Oh, that person." I think it was, it may have been Pete Hegseth, and they're not qualified. I go, well, what makes him not qualified? And we went down, his record, what he's done, where he's worked. It's only because he's a Fox News host. You don't take consideration anything else, and I think that's going to be the same. But again, they can go in and actually get work done. Honestly, they're used to working in very high-pressure situations, whether that is working for the NYPD, whether that's working for the Secret Service, and I hate to break it to you, working for Fox News. Those are not stress-free environments, as many of you know, whoever worked in production. You got to have, you got to be pretty strong.
Well, and you mentioned that Politico's headline, Trump names podcaster Dan Bongino to be second in command at FBI. This is the same way that they tried to smear others like Sean Duffy. It was Trump picks reality TV star. They completely leave out that he was a district attorney, a member of the House of Representatives, and they just go for the low-hanging fruit of where they can try to diminish these people in the minds of the American people to make you think it's not a serious pick. So just because Dan Bongino has a very popular show and reaches a lot of people, he is all of a sudden not qualified. All of his background in law enforcement is disregarded. He's just a podcaster. This isn't a serious pick. Yeah. You should be terrified of what's going to happen here in the United States. It's disgusting.
We are so excited to announce the ACLJ's brand new app, completely redesigned to provide you with the best tools available to partner with us at the ACLJ. You can watch the daily Seculo program, sign the petitions, customize your ACLJ membership experience, donate with the click of a button, and receive up-to-the-minute critical updates that the mainstream media can't censor. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to your phone's app store, search ACLJ, and click install. It's that simple.